Right now, the 2024 presidential race is heating up.
President Joe Biden's re-election campaign continued in California today, where he held a series of fundraisers and events focused on climate change.
This comes as Republicans work to garner attention in an ever-growing Republican primary.
ABC's Ike Jachi is in New York with the latest.
After kicking off his campaign in the battleground state of Pennsylvania, this morning, President Biden is making his way across the country to California. He'll first travel to Palo Alto in the Bay Area for a mix of campaign fundraisers and official business, highlighting the urgency of taking bold action on the climate. A White House official says the president will tour a coastal wetland and announce more than $600 million for climate adaptation projects funded by the Inflation Reduction Act and the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law. Projects like better protecting our nation's power grid from extreme weather events, as well as preparing coastal and Great Lakes communities for climate change impacts like sea level rise, tidal flooding, and storm surges. Biden's focus on infrastructure was also a central point of his visit to Pennsylvania over the weekend, where he took an aerial tour of the collapsed portion of I-95 in Philadelphia, a roadway that carries over 160,000 cars a day.
There's no more important project right now in the country.
Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro says a temporary fix to the span is coming much quicker than expected.
We will have I-95 reopen within the next 2 weeks.
Meanwhile, in the race for the White House, Republicans continued to attack former President Donald Trump's legal exposure. In a recent interview, Republican presidential candidate Chris Christie criticizing Trump's conduct.
We would not be here if Donald Trump had simply returned the documents. The dozens of times the government asked him to return them, the times that the grand jury served a subpoena for them. He waited, defied the government, and then wound up having his house raided.
Members of Biden's campaign say he won't hold regular rallies until later in the campaign season. Biden plans to travel to Chicago and Maryland before the end of the month. Ike Jachi, ABC News, New York.